Hey, welcome to another edition of Shrewsbury Yesterday. We've got a fantastic show for you tonight. This is something that Nick Tedisco and I have been working on for the last couple of weeks, months, whatever you want to call it. And about a month ago, 2 months ago, some old movie reels were turned into our studio that were taken by a Henry McWay years and years ago for the Raystone Post and for the Victor Carranza Post. And I got this great idea, and Nick, along with me, we got this great idea to, let's do a show with these. And we're going to try and identify these people. Now, I don't know about you, but I saw a lot of people I knew in there.
There are a lot of people we knew from when we were kids growing up, and even people that are still involved with the American Legion today. And it's great to see these people in their youth, when they first came out of the war back in World War II era, and even before that. And it's amazing that these videos, these films are still with us today in color. Yep. I mean, in living color, going back to Shrewsbury in the year 1938, 39, in that era. So
that was the first year the color film was made available to the public.
In 1939, the year The Wizard of Oz came out. Just to give people an idea of when they came out.
In fact, you people are going to see, we're not going to be able to name everyone, and you're probably going to see people in there that we don't identify. We tried our best. We had Ann Bianchi Lehman and Don Gray come down here and help us. There are still people that I'm sure, again, that they're going to see, and we're going to try and stop it here and there, just to get you a better look at whoever we're talking about. People that, these guys are in their 80s and 90s now, and we see them marching as 30, 40, 20, 30, 40-year-olds. It's truly, I mean, look at Nick. These people that are marching in these parades are younger in these parades than we are now.
That's absolutely correct, Henry. And it's not just the people, but looking at the different face of the town of Shrewsbury up the center of town, where the parades were held, you know, like they're held even now. But to see the special bunting that was put on the cemetery or around the center of town, and
the old town hall.
The old town hall, the old cars, the old center school. So, are we ready to roll the film?
I think we're ready, because I think people are ready to see it. And I want you to keep in mind, I want you to look at the old style, the old, like we just talked about, the old town hall. Look at the old, the businesses, the cemetery.
We'll point them out.
There's no graves that we know today as they walk in. But anyway, we're ready to roll right now.
Okay, here we go. 1938.
Now, you're going to see some Spanish-American War veterans also marching behind the World War I veterans, I believe, Nick. And it's a small group of people that are heading up at the end of the line.
Right. This, now remember, 1938. This is prior to World War II, after World War I. So you're seeing all the World War I veterans marching through. And for the next several years, we don't know anybody here, Henry.
Not me. My Uncle Tony Corazzini is in this, which we will identify him. But other than that, there aren't a lot of people that we know.
Right.
Even back then, you can even see Mount Wachusett in these early clips. Now, if you notice, there are no graves as they come around the corner.
Look at the uniforms, Henry.
Yeah.
The brown uniforms, and the American Legion uniforms, all still made of wool. It's amazing.
And you can see Mount Wachusett off in the distance.
Right. Now, we've talked about this. That is not Shrewsbury High School.
No, no. Although it could have been their marching band. And it's ironic when the guard starts to change, the World War II veterans start taking it over from the World War I veterans.
Right.
And we'll see that.
Right. But it just goes to show you how much tradition there has been in the town of Shrewsbury all these years with that Memorial Day parade.
And these guys were so proud to march in it, too. And they were very serious about it.
Yeah.
I know...
how many stars in that flag, Henry?
I believe there were 48, weren't there, at that time?
That's right.
Because it wasn't until 1960 that Alaska and Hawaii came in.
That's right. That's 1939. Look at the Girl Scouts. Just a few things we can point out. And like you said earlier, Henry, there were a lack of gravestones in that cemetery at that time. There's a nice picture of Mount Wachusett.
Right, and you got to remember too, color film, look, no graves at all in that particular section. As you come in from West Main Street, Prospect, 140.
Right.
I don't even know the streets.
Grafton, what is it? It's 140.
140.
But how about the road, Henry? It's not paved there.
Not paved. It's probably, it looks like stone dust. And we've kind of slowed it down a little bit, but this is still where they have the ceremony to honor the World War I veterans. And you'll see the clarity isn't too good in this particular film. But as we get on, it gets better.
But for 1939, Henry, I mean, in color, living color, how many years ago was that?
I think it was the second year that color film was made available to the public. And these are the World War I veterans,
Right.
Laying the wreaths at the tomb of the fallen soldier. And I think Don Gray told me 7 died in World War I, 7 people from Shrewsbury, and
Right.
I think 14 in World War II of 16.
67 years ago, Henry.
And these guys, these World War I veterans, were probably in their 30s at that point, 20s and 30s.
Now, you were there in 67 years ago, right?
Yeah, I was there.
Weren't you, aren't you in the parade here
I
somewhere?
tell you, when I get up in the morning and everything aches, I feel like I was there. These are the Artemis Ward monuments. Yeah,
Right.
and there's the old town hall, Nick.
Yeah, yeah. Marching from Shrewsbury Center towards Worcester in that direction,
Yeah.
towards Maple Avenue.
And many, many functions took place. Basketball games in the old town hall, minstrel shows, plays.
Look at the cars, Henry. Can you see the cars in the background?
Yeah, that's,
With all the trees? I mean, what happened to those trees that were through the center of Shrewsbury?
that's right. And they just line the sides of the streets. And right here on the left is my Uncle Tony Corazzini. He's really the only guy I can recognize. And again, some of you people at home may recognize these people, but this is too far back for me. Now this could be Shrewsbury High Marching Band. They look very young. Now these, I think, are the Spanish-American War veterans coming right now. They look a little bit older than the World War I veterans.
Girl Scouts
They marched even
in
back then.
Shrewsbury.
And my Aunt Josie was a Girl Scout leader, but I haven't been able to pick her out in these films.
The Boy Scouts. What troop is that? 146.
That's St. Anne's, isn't it?
St. Anne's Church, 146.
St. Anne's was a new church back then. I think in 1935 it started.
Yeah.
And I think our families were some of the founding families.
1940. The country was still at peace, but Europe was blazing in war.
Yep.
World War II had started. Hitler had invaded France,
And Britain was on the verge of the Blitz. Actually, the Blitz was taking place.
that's right.
And there were a lot of people that suggested we should get in the war to help Britain. And Roosevelt wanted to keep us out of the war.
You're going to see a lot of the same scenes over, same places over
Right.
and over again. What changes is the people, the uniforms change. Some of the scenes are a lot more clearer than others,
But I think we're going to jump here to 1947, right after this, I believe.
yeah, after the war.
And I don't know if anything was done during the war because of that. And again, you'll see shortly the World War II veterans taking over from the World War I veterans.
Right.
And I guess there was a lot of animosity at that time. The World War I, according to Don Gray, the World War I veterans didn't want to give up that special place.
Right. Yeah, Don and Ann were both instrumental in help pointing out a lot of the small details that you and I didn't know.
Right. Well, they've been around a lot longer than we have. I have, or whoever.
Now you can see these are the old gravestones from the Revolutionary War.
Now this is the ceremony they used to take that used to take place at Beale School.
Right.
Now I don't know whose house that is. I think that might be Bates's old house. I'm not sure.
On the right.
Yeah.
On the
Or
right.
this house right here might be it. Again, the World War I veterans.
And it's amazing. Look at all the veterans that are marching in the parade. I mean, you look at the veterans that are marching now, and the ranks have thinned out.
There aren't many left.
As we now have a all-volunteer military.
Right. I don't know, I didn't go in the military, but I think everybody should at least have to serve a year or two.
Look at the center of town. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the bunting on the...
Yeah. And again, they did a ceremony at the Civil War Monument.
Right. Now, this video is being shot from across the street over the Hale building, correct? And look at the trees on the common.
Evidently, this Henry McWay knew what he was doing. I mean, and you'll notice later on that he got right in the street as people walked by, the soldiers.
Now, we have moved to 1947 here, and World War II has ended, and we'll start to see a lot of new faces coming through here, a lot of the World War II veterans.
Yeah.
And Henry and I will try to point them out to you. But look at all the soldiers,
Yep.
all the men that have come home from the Army, the Armed Forces, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines.
See if we can stop it right here. Now, right here, Walter Wagner,
Yeah.
Joe Russell
On the right,
on the right.
Walter is leading the troops here. And I believe this is the Corona Post?
This is the Corona
Victor
Post.
Corona Post.
Okay, we can continue it if that's okay. Okay, we stop it right here. All right, there's Leo DeVolio. I believe that might be Mike Sherpley in back. Mr. Sherpley. I always call him Mr. Sherpley, but it's, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Thank you.
You can continue it. I'll stop it right here. I believe there's Leo DiPadua right there.
I don't think they can see where you're pointing to, so you're just going to have to try and figure out.
Right in the middle of the frame to the right a little bit is Leo DiPadua. I think if you can move it on a little bit further, yeah, that's good. Okay, keep going a little bit more. Right here, there's Jimmy Burney, right in the middle of the screen. And I believe Ed Pescaro is right behind him. Let's move it a little further on, if we can. Let's see. Way in the back, way in the middle in the back there is Vic Zona, my uncle, Ed Pescaro. Again, it's like making these guys come alive again, Nick.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, normal speed. And Mark, I want to point out, is Mark Serra, our ace
Serra.
technician here at Shrewsbury Public Access, does a wonderful job here.
Without him, we wouldn't be doing this.
Outstanding job. Okay.
Is that Eddie Fletcher right there?
Yes, it is.
Eddie Fletcher on the right.
Yep. That was a good shot, Eddie.
It was.
We'll see. We see a lot of Eddie, Ed Fletcher, former superintendent of the water department in Shrewsbury.
Is that again?
Yeah, right there. Oh, never mind. We'll keep going.
Again, there's Joe Russell right in the front.
Look at Joe. That's great.
The ladies marching the wax.
The Williams Auxiliary.
There's Tony Grosso right in the middle. Now I'm going to ask you, when it comes up pretty soon, we're going to stop it again in a minute, but not yet. Right now, can we stop it? All right, again, Walter Wagner, Joe Russell. Okay, continue. Butch Fuginetti is right in front, right there in front.
On the left.
On the left. Can we stop it right now? Gary Giuffrida on the right-hand side. Leo Shapolsky, who used to be a mailman, on the left-hand side. Joe DeVolio down a little ways. Okay, can we continue it, Mark?
Oh, we missed Nino Abishano.
Oh, we missed Nino. We can back it up a little bit for you.
No, that's all right. We'll see Nino again. He's in it every year.
Marching through the center of town, World War I veterans. Okay, there's the ceremony at
Field School.
Yeah. Now there's the ceremony at the library or at the old town hall.
Right.
And in some cases, you'll see there's the old center school right in the back there.
The old center school, and what they used to do years ago is see the people are standing in front of those signs there that have all the servicemen that died in World War II.
The honor roll.
The honor roll.
I don't know where that is now. I think it's...
But you can see the library on the right.
Now you'll see a lot more people that, 1948, the Congregational Church in the background, World War I veterans marching again. There's the Corona Post. Hold it right there. Okay, can we back up a slight bit? Okay, right there, right in the front, the very front is Lenny Erickson. Right behind him is Joe Leone. And you can continue it. Go ahead, Mike. Okay, if we can stop it right here. Okay.
Oh yeah, now you can see Nino.
There's Nino Abishano. In front of him is Jim Burney. Now, going down, the tallest guy right there is Joe DeVolio. And in the back, you can just see his face. Between Nino Abishano and Jim Burney is Vic Zona. who happens to be my uncle. I think Nick Lapinese is marching in the back behind Joe DeVolio, and I think Leo Dumas is behind him. So if you could continue that, Mark. Yeah, that was Leo Dumas.
Now, your mom is in here.
She's
isn't
in
she,
here
Henry?
somewhere. Yeah, we'll get a quick glimpse of her. She was surprised to see it. You can see these anytime on Shrewsbury On Demand, by the way.
It is my dog.
This is where Eddie Fletcher, I guess, gives a little smile to the camera.
Yeah, if we can pick it.
There he
Stop
is.
right there, Ed, Mark. You can see Eddie. Eddie's the 1, 2, 3, 4th on the right. Ed Fletcher.
And Russ Wall is in there somewhere, and Belton Wall.
Okay, Mark.
I can see the soft hats were still in style back then.
You know, it's funny. I can remember as a youth going up to the center of town and watching the guys shoot the rifles and waiting for the shells to come out of the guns, and then everybody would dive for the shells so they could have a souvenir.
My aunt wouldn't let me dive.
My dad took me up every year.
Ray Stone post,
Yeah.
followed by the Caranta post. They're the women. They dress sharp, didn't they?
They still do.
We hold it right there. Right here on the right-hand side is Arthur Salucci.
Yeah.
Frank Wagner is right behind his brother Walter, and you can continue that, Mark.
Look at Wally Wagner.
Oh, he looks
that
like
was
he looks
great.
just like it's Tony Corazzini. And let's see, can we stop it right here? On the right-hand side, in the middle, again, is Vic Zona. You can continue it. Leo DiPaggio is right behind him. And my mom's coming up here somewhere. I'm going to have Mark stop it in a bit, but not yet. Coming up now in the center of town. Okay, right there. Lenny Erickson, Joe Leone again. You can continue, Mark. Right there, hold it. Guido Arizzi. Okay, continue.
He's trying to get a bit
Yep,
clearer
that's okay.
picture.
And let's see. Right there is Joe Buscaglia and Louis Guerra. Those two. Louis Guerra is the first one. Joe Buscaglia, former superintendent of buildings, is the second one. Okay.
Nino Abishano.
Joe DeVolio, Nick Lapinese. My mom's coming up somewhere. There she is. Right there.
Hi, Mom.
There's Helen Grant Petro, Helen Zona. You're a star, Mom.
She'll love that, Henry.
I think that's her back there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can remember those. I remember. Look at how brand new that looked. But as
I know.
I remember as a kid, it had dilapidated
Yeah.
and got decrepit, and they eventually had to take it down.
There's Walter leading the troops. Look at the women that used to march, the auxiliary.
Now I noticed that Walter Wagner has dark hair there, a lot darker than his son Wally did.
Wally. Wally turned white on us.
I love it.
But again, we're older, Nick, right now than these guys
Absolutely.
were
That's right.
at that time.
That's right.
There's Joe
Eddie,
Rourke.
That's it. Yeah, Joe
Rourke.
Yeah. Eddie Rourke's dad.
Yes.
Right.
They were both in the service at the same time, Ed Rourke and Joe. Great, two nice guys, just great guys.
Two comedians.
Yeah.
There's the
Okay.
Corona Post again.
We're going to stop it, not yet, but right there.
Yeah.
Can we back up slightly? There's a nice shot. Ed Piscaro. Eddie Piscaro is right there. Okay, you can continue it, Mark. Mike Sherperly right there. And Women's Auxiliary. There's Rita Estrella, Alda Mazzari, I believe. Now, I might get some of these people wrong.
And you're going to miss a lot of people that we don't know, Henry.
Yeah.
But you see, Mr. Wagner is always leading his group. He was the commander.
There's Guido Arizzi again.
He was the first commander of the Victor Corona Post, Walter Wagner.
Yeah, he was. He used to always lead the parade.
Russ Wall on the right.
Yeah, there was Russ. And again, these veterans took this parade very seriously. You know, they knew what they went through.
You're the Boy Scouts, Troop 158.
And I know in the case of Joe DeVolio, he was a submariner. He was in submarines for 4 years, stationed out of Hawaii. Again, Butch Fulginiti right in the front. Tony Grosso.
Yeah.
Russ Wall. There's
Yeah, now
Russ.
you can see Russ Wall.
There's Russ. Boy, Russ looks like his father.
When I watch these, Henry, it makes me feel like a kid again.
I know. I know. It doesn't. It's so entertaining to see these guys as young men, and not just in pictures, but in actual movies. Look at the number of women marching.
Now it's kind of funny how the photographer stood right in the middle of the parade while everyone walked by him, and he's standing right now where the clock is at the center of town right now.
Yeah.
Right at that corner.
And I mean, it's evident that the guy knew actually what he was doing. He wasn't just out there shooting at random. Or should I say photographing at random.
Again, at the ceremony, a little change this year. They're letting the women put the wreaths on the...
Yes, I noticed that.
And from the Ray Stone Post. Henry, you want to talk briefly about the why we had 2 Legion posts in town?
Well, evidently after World War II, the guys from down the lake area of town decided they wanted to make have their own post. And Victor Carranza, I believe, was one of the first veterans killed. John Mastro right there was killed in World War II, and they named it after Victor Carranza. There's Pearl Lodges, Kenny Lodge's mother, and Donna. And so the guys down the lake formed their own Legion post. And I think your dad was past commander.
He was the commander of the
There's Joe Russell right in the front, and Tony Corazzini, and I think my Uncle Tony switched over from Ray Stone to the Carranza post because he was a World War I veteran. And I don't even know if any women even march anymore at all. And when I was a kid, the World War I veterans mostly rode in cars in the 50s and 60s, late 50s, early 60s. There's Joe Russell
What
right
a great
up front.
show of Joe Russell, yeah.
Tony Corazzini again. Mike Sherpley, Louis Guerra. I have a tough time saying that, Guerra.
1950. Rainy day in Shrewsbury.
There's Lenny Erickson right up front. Might be Lenny Salerno, I'm not sure. That's Lenny.
Isn't it great to see it in color, though? It's amazing.
There's Arthur Salucci right in the front. Jim Burney again. Hugo Orizzi.
Yeah.
There's Guido.
Guido Orizzi.
Yeah.
Former owners of Orlando's Market.
Orlando's Market. We would see him every time we went in. And
Drive him crazy.
so all these guys, we grew
They
up
had the
with them.
coldest water bubbler in the town
They
of
did.
Shrewsbury.
They did. Did you ever work there? I worked there for a
I
while.
didn't know. I used to just go hide under the produce counters on my mother and make her chase me around. Oh yeah,
There's Hugo again, right in the front, and Walter. See, they would take turns, I guess, leading the parade, the Carranza post and Ray Stone post that Don Gray was telling us.
right.
There's Joe Peroni in the background. We'll see him again. We're getting a 5-minute signal.
Well, we're not going to see all the films up to 1958, I believe.
50, no, I think 56.
56. But we will do another show, Henry, I believe.
Sure. There's Walter again. Boy, as a kid, he used to scare me. I was afraid of him. And he was the nicest guy going. There's Lenny Erickson again. Lenny Erickson. There's Hugo.
What's that little?
You like that little loop they did?
Yeah, a little loop the loop.
I think they were showing off, Nick. What do you think?
Of course, they were showing off.
Yeah. Now you know some of these guys from Ray Stone Post.
If particular care is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to instigate a rebellion, and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no.
That's what they widened the road recently.
That's right.
Look how far the grass came out.
You're absolutely right, Henry. Look at that. It was just a little town of Shrewsbury. How many people did we say were in the town at that
Well,
time?
in 1950, I think we had 7,000 or 8,000.
This is a Shrewsbury High School marching band.
Yes. Now these must be National Guardsmen they brought in to march in the parade.
This will be the last segment of the parade that we show on this show, and then we'll break away.
We were here quite a while one night, going over these films. Three minutes.
Okay, we got 3 minutes left. Again, the World War I Memorial up at Shrewsbury Center at the cemetery.
Then they brought out these white helmets for a while. They used to always wear the white helmets. There's Joe Rourke.
Joe Rourke.
Joe Rourke, yep. I like those cars. Pontiac. Shrewsbury High Marching Band. The blue and gold. Belton
There's
Wall.
Belton Wall on the right.
Wall.
Yep.
And who's this? You knew him.
That's Elton May.
Elton May.
Yep.
There's Harry Cutting. Russ Wall.
Great picture of Russ.
Nice shot of Russ Wall.
Elton May again. Well, Henry, as we watch the rest of this video here, I just want to say that it's been truly a pleasure to sit here with you and watch some of these old films dating back to the 1930s and 40s and now the early 50s. And we'll continue on the next segment.
Well, Nick, these guys were our heroes. These are the guys we grew up with.
Absolutely.
We saw them everywhere. They coached our Little League teams. They were our teachers. They worked at the post office and the supermarkets, and we saw them everywhere we went. And I think we're beginning to appreciate
Henry,
them now.
just one thing to point out. Look at the center of town, the Route 20 sign right at the center of town.
Yeah.
The white post. Unreal.
Yeah.
But this is why they were the greatest generation. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you, Nick. That was fun.
We'll see you next time, folks.
We have another very unique edition of almost at Sports Overtime, Shrewsbury Yesterday. A few months ago, some movies were dropped off, and we spoke about this in the previous segment. Don Gray was gracious enough to drop off some old movie reels of Memorial Day dating back to 1937. And ironically enough, 1938 was the first year that color film was introduced to the public. And you'll see in these particular movie reels that in 1938, the Memorial Day parades were in color. And some of them are really, really vivid, but some of them are very tough to make out. And what we've been trying to do, Nick Tedisco and I, and we also had Ann Lehman, Ann Bianchi Lehman, and Dawn Gray, identify some of these people. You'll know a lot of people in these movies that we don't know. Again, we may miss some people. We may misname some people. But I think we've got mostly everybody right on track. And it's increasingly interesting to me, Nick, that these are people that we grew up with. And these guys that are marching in this parade, and these parades, are younger in these parades than we are now.
Very true, Henry. I can remember as a kid growing up, going up to the center of town with my dad, because my dad was a commander at the Corona Post for a number of years up there, and he was involved with it. And you know, we'd go up to the center. I used to march with the parade with the Boy Scouts when I was a kid, with Troop 114 up at the Congregational Church. Yeah. And after the parade was over, we would go to the Victor Corona Post afterwards, and they would always serve hot dogs and soda. And I've had a lot of memories. Good memories and a couple of bad memories about that. I remember one time my dad I told him I wanted to go home, and he wouldn't let me. He says, "No, you stay until it's time to go." And I walked home, and boy, did I get my butt warm that day. But
so I could picture your father doing that.
You know how many doors were put in my house with my body from my dad? They don't do that anymore. But he was.
But you know, Nick, bring up another thing. People don't know this. There used to be 2 parades in Shrewsbury. There was a parade that started at what time? 7:45?
It was 7:45 in the morning down at they started down at the bridge. They would march from Spags and march down to the bridge. They would throw the wreath into Lake Winsigamen, do a ceremony there, and then they would march back up to St. Anne's Church, and they would do taps and do another ceremony with a prayer by one of the pastors at St. Anne's Church. Well, it must have been Father Smith.
Father Smith, it could have been.
Father Smith, and then
Father Warburton was before him. And
right.
I don't know a lot of the priests before that. But the ironic thing about the town of Shrewsbury, and, you know, I hate to bring this up, but Shrewsbury used to be a divided town. I mean, you had the lake section and you had the center section. And I don't know of any other town that had 2 separate post offices, 2 separate Catholic churches, 2 separate little leagues that didn't play each other on occasion for the town championship, 2 separate supermarkets, 2 separate Legion posts, 2 separate parades. The town, we that lived down by the lake in the section where Spags is, didn't really have any need to go up to the other end of town because we had everything we needed down here. And conversely, with the other side, and again, your mom comes from the other side, didn't really need to come down here.
No, Mom didn't come from the other side.
I thought she did.
No, absolutely not. No, my mom was born in Dover, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Married my dad.
Right.
And came to Shrewsbury. Her first home was on Old Mill Road. They moved to Edgewater Ave. And
I'm thinking of your stepdad. I'm thinking because she married.
Then afterwards she remarried Eddie Fletcher, and we all moved up to Spring Street and became part of the center of town. So I have roots at both ends of town. So I guess I'm an original Shrewsbury citizen from both ends. Right. But I love my lake rat roots. So.
Well, I guess we're getting the high sound. We want to get this. We want to get this rolling so you people can again see some of the Legionnaires marching as they were back in the 1950s.
Okay, 1953, Henry. What was going on in 1953?
1953, the Yankees were world champions. Rocky Marciano was heavyweight champion of the world. And what was the important event that was a week after this?
1 week before this. This was a week before the tornado.
Right, week before.
A week before the tornado.
There's Joe Russell. You'll see Joe Russell marching in the middle of your screen. Jim Burney again. Tony Corazzini. Ed Pescaro right at the end. You can see Mount Wachusett in the distance.
Shrewsbury High School Marching Band.
There's the blue and gold.
Yeah.
There's Lenny again. Those white
Lenny
helmets.
Erickson. Oh, one blurry there. Okay. That's a little better.
Mr. McQuay probably forgot to focus. Yeah, these films were done by Henry McQuay, who was had a business called Railroad Photographers back in the 50s out of Shrewsbury. And I guess he did photography and video, not video, they didn't have video back then, but films. There's Harry Cutting leading the Raystone Post.
Harry Cutting, well, he was always the marshal when I was growing up.
Yes.
The marshal of the parade. There's a great shot of the center of town.
Yeah, the old town hall. What a nice building that was. I wish they had not torn it down. I think these are some National Guardsmen that came down from the lake, across the lake. There's Walter Wagner right in the middle.
Stop it. No, we'll let it run. Let it run.
There's Joe Peroni, Nick Lapanese. Some of the women marching. Raystone Post.
There's your friend Henry on the right.
I don't know who he is. Look at Joe Rourke. See Joe Rourke just then?
Great shot of the center of Shrewsbury with the old honor roll in front of the center school, in front of the library.
And again, you notice how far the grass comes out because they just widened the road.
Right. You know, there's a lot of people that have moved into Shrewsbury within the last 10, 15 years that don't remember Shrewsbury Center looking like that.
Right. This is 1954.
Year before I was born, Henry.
I was 4 and a half, almost 5. This looks like it's in slow motion. Again, the clarity is a little bit off right here, but it gets better as the film moves on. There's Joe Rourke leaning forward.
Great color, Henry.
Like we said in the last segment, though, Nick, Joe Rourke and Eddie Rourke. Eddie was his son.
Yeah.
They both served in World War II at the same time, father and son. I wonder how many, and I think Don Gray told me 17 guys from Shrewsbury passed away, got killed in World War II.
If we can find Joe Rourke here, we'll have Mark stop the film for a second.
7 or 8 in World War I.
Wow. Wish we can get the clarity a little bit better here.
Yeah, it will get better shortly. I wonder why it was so, maybe the film was just deteriorated over the years.
Look at the SHS band. Uniforms are a little different today.
Yep. There's Walter Wagner leading again. Hugo Rizzi on the right. Joe Russell in the purple.
There's Joe. Yeah.
And again, I like the way he stayed right in the middle of the
Elton May on the right.
parade and as they marched by.
Look at the car, Henry. Now, isn't that beauty?
Yeah. The old center school right behind the honor roll.
Right.
Now this was some kind of ceremony. This guy has, it says Marshall on his sleeves. This is Marshall. And he was getting some kind of a medal. You know what I bet? I bet you they're the parents. Or maybe someone that, one of the veterans that died in World War II.
Perhaps. Now, was that Tony Grasso that was just
It looked like it was. I was going to say
it looked
that.
like Tony Grasso. Again, the clarity isn't so great here.
They might be Gold Star parents, which meant
Right.
they
They
lost.
lost a son. If they can we stop that for a second, Mark? If you look in the background, Henry, you can see the Coca-Cola signs. I believe that's the
Senadary
the
bar?
Senadary bar, the old Senadary bar. It's hard to tell. I'm sure we'll get phone calls on that from people that tell us who just,
Well, you know what
just
happens
about
a
where
lot?
this.
I'll be in the store and someone will say something to me. That was such and such a building. Didn't you know that?
Well, you can see on the right, you can see the bunting of the
Right.
American flag coming down. So that's the monument to the Civil War.
Right.
Soldier veterans there in the front. So this scene was taken, shot from with the Congregational Church behind the photographer's
Right,
back,
right.
shooting towards the cross towards the Hale
Hale block,
building,
yeah.
the Hale block, wherever it is. So, and it looks like it's like an ice cream stand or
Yeah.
a Center Dairy Bar or whatever that is right there.
I wish they still decorated the Civil War monument with that bunting.
Well,
That
right
really
now,
looks
the
nice.
only thing that we have up there is that big flag that Karen Polito brought. She got the flag that flies in the center of town was
Right.
brought from Washington, D.C. That flew at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you were aware of that.
I wasn't.
Okay. And one other interesting note, when you brought up Eddie Rourke and Joe Rourke, did you know that when Eddie Rourke came home from World War II, he was he left Shrewsbury High School, went to World War II, and then came back
And finished.
his high school and played on the only undefeated high school football team that Shrewsbury High has ever had.
That's right, because you did you had a ceremony one night with them.
Right. That's right.
And he also played on the Clark Tournament Championship basketball team because we honored the four teams that won the Clark Tournament. Eddie was there as representing the 47 team.
Right, and he's a member of the Shrewsbury High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
Was it the 47 team? No, I don't think.
Well, it was in 1946 was the undefeated football team.
Right.
It was 1946.
Okay.
So let's roll it, Mark. I'm not sure how much more footage we have here, but look at the microphone.
Yeah.
1955.
Can we go back a little bit right there? Can we just go back a little bit, Mark?
Yeah, if we can run this really slow, Mark.
Just a little more. A little bit more. Right. A little bit more. There's one more guy I want to get in there. Okay, right there. Alden Simone.
Yeah.
And to his shoulder, back shoulder, is Nick Lapanese. Okay, go ahead.
If we can roll that slow too, Mark. This one segment here.
And there's.
As you can see, Joe Russell, a good shot of Joe Russell
Not yet.
coming up.
Yeah, he's coming up right
There he
now.
is on
There's
the
Joe.
left.
There's Joe. The oil man. That's great. Isn't that great? There's Rita Estrella,
Yeah.
our neighbor on Old Mill Road. And you know, I can't. A lot of these women, I just don't know who they are. Boy, it's really in slow motion now.
Okay, Mark, let it roll.
Russ Wall.
Here's Russ Wall.
Joe Rourke again.
Tony Grasso.
Yeah, Tony Grasso. Look at the women.
The
Wow.
women from the Women's Auxiliary.
See these. It's like Eddie Piscaro winning one of the leads. There's Walter Wagner shouting out his instructions. Boy, he scared me when I was a
Wally scared me when I was a kid.
kid. Wally. Wally.
Wally was a good third baseman.
There's Joe Peroni carrying the flag.
Yeah, there he is.
Joe the barber.
Yeah.
You know Peroni's barbershop. That was Nick's father. There's Ken Burns, the former police chief.
Yeah. Selectmen, Shrewsbury High cheerleaders.
Cheerleaders, marching band. Harry Cutting. Belton
Belton
Wall right in
Wall.
the middle.
Yeah.
In the front, I mean. There's where Shrewsbury Pizzeria is now.
Yeah, on the right.
There's Joe Peroni carrying the flag right in front.
Joe, yeah, great shot of Joe Peroni.
Yeah. There's Nick Lapanese again. At Beale School, the ceremony. There's Beale right behind. Howard W. Beale, he died in World War I. Arthur Salucci. Tony Corazzini. There's Norman Vandal. Can we go back a little bit? Can we go back a little bit, Mark? Just a little bit more. A little bit more. I think. Keep going.
Right there.
Right there. There's Norman Vandal, Alden Simone on the left,
And
Norman Vandal on the
Mr.
right.
Vandal looks like just like his son.
Looks like Bobby, yeah.
Bobby, yeah.
Yeah. And Nick Lapanese in the middle. Okay, Mark. Joe Russell. Here come the women again. We got a little blurry right here, Nick.
Well, these guys were out the night before. There's a great shot of the center of town.
Yeah,
There The Hale building.
The Hale block or building or whatever you call it.
Look at the bicycles in the center of town.
There's the wreath laying at the honor roll.
Look at how new the library looked.
Yeah, I like this part when there's Guido Rizzi right in the front. Joe Rourke.
Is that your car, Henry?
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it? Eddie Piscaro, you can see.
Belton Wall.
Belton Wall. Tony
Grasso. Russ Wall.
Yeah, there's Russ. How young these guys look there.
Mel Billings.
Here's Hugo Rizzi, right? You'll see Hugo Rizzi coming up now. As you can keep going, Mark. Because this is, I know this.
Wet day in Shrewsbury.
There's Hugo on the right-hand side as we march up. Hugo's on the right, the raincoat on. Joe Mazzari's on the left. Stop right there.
Right where?
Right there. There's Arthur Salucci.
Yeah.
Okay. Leo DeVolio.
Leo DeVolio. One of my dad's good friends.
Yeah. Leo would always march every year. There's Lenny Salerno right in the front.
Wow, look at that, huh?
I think it's Lenny.
Yeah, that's Lenny. That's definitely Lenny.
But I hope people get a kick out of this. I mean, they're going to watch this and see it, and I think they're really going to get a kick out of it. These guys must have been from the National Guard.
Yep. They don't look too happy in the rain.
Cold and rainy that particular Memorial Day. There's Joe Peroni again right there. Alden Simone, Joe Russell. A lot of times it seemed like it rained on Memorial Days, remember?
Yeah. I know my cousin Nino Abishano used to march in the parade year after year after year, and he eventually got my dad to join the the American Legion. And those two were bookends.
Oh, it wasn't a nicer guy than your Uncle Nino, I'll tell you that, as far as I know.
Russ Wall. There's Joe Peroni.
Look at him. What a ham bone he was. He loved the camera. Leo DeVolio.
Wow.
Okay, Joe Rourke again. We have 5 minutes left on this
Belton Wall.
Yep.
Shrewsbury High cheerleaders.
There's Mr. Vella.
Louis Vella.
Can we go back a little bit, Mark?
Yeah, Mr. Vella was the music teacher at Shrewsbury High School, the music director for years, and boy, to catch him in his youth like that,
yeah.
He's got to be what, 26 years old there, maybe?
Yeah, he probably
maybe 25.
I think he just started
24?
at high school back then.
And look at the SHS band with the white pants and the.
Now there's the old town hall, the back door to the old town hall behind them.
Absolutely. What is now in the
Empty lot.
It's the parking lot for the library, correct?
Well, that's where the honor roll is now. It's on that granite stone.
Right.
Okay, Mike.
Stars and Stripes Forever in the background.
Tony Grasso right in front. There's Joe. Joe Mazzari's right behind him.
There's Nino Habashano carrying his coat. Did you see him? Look at this. Walter Wagner. What a great shot of Walter.
That was good.
Look at Belton Wall.
Carrying the flag. Some World War I veterans.
That's what you do now in the parade center. You ride in the car.
I ride in the car. I like it that way.
Field school. Look at that. Look at the kids diving. They'll be jumping for that. See, they were waiting for those shells.
Oh, it was always a fight for the shells. Remember the fights for the shells? There's Joe the Barber again. Alden Simone, you can see them.
That's it, Henry.
I think there is one more.
Is there one more?
No, I think we wrapped up with that. Well,
so.
You know, When I first looked at these, and the first time, and again, you can see these on Shrewsbury On Demand if you have digital cable. You can see any one of these. But do you remember when we first looked at these, how amazed we were to see these guys at that age?
Well, the first time I watched it was on Shrewsbury Cable and on the video on demand. And to be able to see my stepfather, Ed Fletcher, by slowing it down and watching it, to see Eddie, in his mid-20s, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
They just talk about bringing people back to life again. They really do.
Yeah, it's you know me. I like to regress in time, and you guys always make fun of me for going back. But when you see something like
We don't
this,
make fun of you, Henry.
Well, you tease me.
It's you. You're history. You're living history.
But when these guys see this, I saw Leo DiPaggio the other day at the Shrewsbury Friends meeting, and I told him, I said, you're going to see yourself on TV as you're marching during the Memorial Day parades back in the 50s, and they were dying to know when it's going to be on. So I'm so excited to be able to put this on.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to do, and again, I just think back to when we were kids and we would go to the parade and how important and how special it was. In fact, I can remember when Murphy Square, right up here at where Howard Johnson's used to be, where Ground Round used to be.
You're dating yourself now, Howard Johnson's.
What is it now, Walgreens now? Walgreens now? Well, that is Murphy Square. And as a kid, I can remember my dad was the one that dedicated that square years and years ago. And I can remember him giving his little speech that he had prepared, and he kept on stumbling over his words, and I can hear the guys in the background kind of snickering at him, laughing at him. So
I wouldn't laugh too much.
It's sort of like the
if I was going to laugh at him, I'd run. Let's put it that way.
Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Right? No, not from that respect.
No.
But stumbling over his words and that type of thing. But
no, I mean, you're the easiest going guy in the world. I mean,
that's beside the point. This has been great, and to find something like this, to be able to look back in time and to relive our memories.
This is our history. This is our town. This is the greatest generation we just looked at. These guys put their life on the line for us so that we could do what we're doing today. And a lot of them are still around, and you see them around here and there. It's just amazing the things they went through. These guys grew up during the Depression, and now the Depression is over. Time to live a little bit, and they had to go into a war.
Right. And now the two Legion posts both do their meetings down. Actually, the Victor Corona post closed several years ago, and it's now where Town Fair Tire is. They knocked the building down where the Legionnaires used to meet, and now both Legion posts both reside in the same building. Now, isn't that kind of funny? Where their humble beginning, where they had two separate Legion posts, they had too many people to fit into one building. Now both groups are both in the Raystone Post, which is opposite Dean Park.
Do you know that was a schoolhouse originally? The Raystone Post was a schoolhouse?
It's been a busy place.
And they also had an American Legion baseball team back in the 50s. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
They had an American Legion baseball team, and I believe, I'm trying to think who the coach was. Now, Bobby DeFino played for the team, and Simeon Foraker, who's from Northborough, helped out coaching with getting a high sign for 5 minutes. And I'm trying to think I know who it was. And Bobby DeFino, if you're watching this, you can correct me. I think it was Red Fazio.
Okay.
I think it was Red Fazio, and you knew his son, didn't you?
Yep.
Corky Fazio.
Yep. I graduated with him.
Right. I knew right around that time.
Graduated. But he lives in Idaho now.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's a farmer.
A farmer?
Yeah, he's potatoes and, He came home several years ago. We did the honoring our Super Bowl team that went in 1972, and we had a number of the guys that came back from different parts of the country, and Dave was one of the guys that came back. And he was. I can remember scrimmaging against. We would always scrimmage against each other during practices, and I think out of all the guys that I got hit playing football, I think Corky Fazio nailed me the best out of all. He hit me one time, and I came up, and
you were pretty tough.
They asked me how many fingers I could see. I don't know. I was just seeing stars.
But getting back to, again, you talk about football. These people that were in these movies, they were our football coaches. They were our basketball coaches. They were our teachers. They worked at the post office. They worked at Spags. They worked at Alando's. These veterans were all around us as kids growing up. Did you ever hear them speak about what they went through? Not often.
No.
And I was watching a segment the other day on History Channel, and they were showing how the bridge builders of World War II, the engineers, were building bridges across the Rhine, pontoon bridges, which is what my father did. And they were getting shot at. Now, it's hard enough trying to build something without being bothered. Imagine someone trying to kill you. And that's what my dad did. But yet, I never heard about it. I never heard about it. And again, Joe DeVolio, submariner, for 4 years during World War II. And a lot of these guys, what do you think? I want to do a show, and I want to do a show about, I want to have some veterans on, but I don't want to talk about their battle scars.
They won't talk to you about it.
No, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about where they were when they heard about Pearl Harbor, where they were when they heard about the invasion of Normandy, what that meant to them.
So are you offering this up to our veterans out in the town
I want
to come on your show?
I do. I want
because I know it's like pulling teeth sometimes to get people to come on.
It's very difficult.
Come out in front of a camera and to talk, like you're talking. And it's very easy after you do it for, for a little while. It's like being in somebody's living room and just talking like we're talking right now.
But another thing, what did they feel when they were alone at night? Did they think of home? Did they think of a special girlfriend? Did they think of their mom and dad? And another thing, Nick, think about this now. A lot of these guys went through a lot of combat. A lot of these guys at sea. A lot of these guys were rescued at sea. A lot of these guys were wounded. What do you think they thought of when they first got home and slept in their bed for the first time after being in the service all that many years? Think about it. What do you think? I mean, what could have gone through their minds? I mean,
how nice it is to be home.
They left as kids, but came back as men.
Right.
And to walk into their bedroom for the first time.
It'd sort of be like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
I think it'd be a little different than that.
There's no place like home. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
This is I'm trying to be serious here. How often am I serious? I'm never serious. But what went through their minds when they first stepped off the bus into Shrewsbury?
I don't know. We'll have to ask them. I really don't know.
At Union Station in Worcester, or at downtown Worcester when they first stepped off the bus.
It obviously was a feeling of jubilation to actually be home.
Now, do you know where your father served in World War II? Do you know?
My dad wasn't in World War II. He was in the Marine Corps during the Korean conflict, and I believe that he was on his way over to Korea, and the ship that he was on got caught up in a typhoon, and I don't think he ever really actually saw combat.
Right.
I know that the platoon, he was a drill sergeant.
I could picture that.
In
I
Camp
definitely
Pendleton,
could see that.
and he sent guys that he had in his platoons, went over there and died on the beaches over in Korea. So, but I think we're winding down here, Henry. So
I want to thank you for coming on the show with me, Nick.
It's been a pleasure. I don't get out in front of the camera that
I know.
often,
I was looking forward to this, and I knew that it was going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you people out there enjoy us, and enjoy the show as much as we enjoyed putting it together. And I want to thank Ann Bianchi Lehman, for helping us, and Don Gray, and Henry McWay, who took these films many years ago, to which he billed the town, the Raystone Post, $18.50.
Total for everything.
Total for everything.
Wow.
$18.50 to do these movies. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed bringing this to you. Thank you, and watch for our next show.